Hi, Lori.
With Purdue still searching for themselves a little bit, do you kind of have to go back to the principles that you used early in the season of being ready for everything when it comes to the Boilermakers?
You know, you really do. The interesting thing about it is it looks like philosophically they've made some changes here the last couple of weeks. And they had a bye week about 3 weeks ago, and it looks like defensively they kind of schematically changed. And what you do now, when we're sitting down, we're watching video, and you're looking at it, you say, okay, what do they want to be right now? It looks like they've really kind of bought into probably being more of an odd front football team, and we'll kind of see how it goes. And during the week, we'll have to throw in some four-down stuff and practice it. But, you know, that makes it really hard on the teams that's going in. And when you look at it, you say, okay, well, the teams they've really done that against are Nebraska, which is after the bye week, and then they had Michigan State the next week. And Michigan State's not anything offensively similar to us. So you have to look at it and say, okay, how much background work do we have to really look at their odd scheme? So it's interesting. It's one of those things you fight early in the seasons normally, you know, when you change staffs or change coordinators, trying to figure out what that guy's going to do. And kind of interesting, in the middle of the year, you normally don't face that. And we're kind of facing it week 9.
Front row, Todd.
Tim, when you're 8-0, fourth in the country, 20 straight wins, and Urban rattled off everybody who graded out as champions, I think there's at least one, if not two guys from most position groups. And then he said that Tuesdays are bloody Tuesday. Are Tuesdays really bloody around here? I mean, what's a Tuesday practice like?
Let's put it this way. I didn't smile when you asked that question. If you had our guys up here, our position players, they would like shake their head like, are you kidding me? Yes, they are. And it's by design. And the one thing in my whole talk yesterday to my position group, and what I normally do on Sunday meetings is I recap the week before and talk about the positives and negatives and maybe why we played well or why we didn't play well. And then I start focusing in on the next opponent, because obviously you kind of get a 24-hour rules, what kind of that, you know, you can play with that game, you can be happy we celebrate, or, you know, if you ever do lose, and hopefully that doesn't happen for a long time in Ohio State, and that, you know, you have to put it away. Because when you show back up, it's time to go back to work. And one of my emphasis in talking to that group certainly was, hey, listen, you know, that you can't be satisfied with where you are. You know, there's a guy that coached here a long time ago. You said you're either getting better, right, or you're getting worse. Well, we still have a lot of room for improvement. When you turn on the video, they were coached very hard yesterday in the film session, very, very hard. When they go out to practice on Tuesday, we'll throw a lot of different looks at them, a lot of hard things at them. We'll make it very challenging. We'll be very demanding on their effort. We'll be very demanding on their fundamentals and very demanding on their execution. I mean, very demanding, like, you know, like top end stuff. Well, when you're throwing new schemes, and every team has their own intricacies. I mean, everybody does it a little bit differently. You can say, well, it's odd defense. Well, it's odd defense Purdue style. Well, you can say it's four down Purdue style, and everybody does it a little bit differently. So that first time you really go out, you show that look, you know, there's always that hesitation, so there will be wrong a little bit. And when you're wrong, we really get a chance to coach you hard. I mean, really hard. And it's not by accident. And we're going to coach them really hard, because the bottom line is all that body of work we've done to now really doesn't mean anything unless you continue to do your job. I mean, that's the game. And so the body of work's all great. You can pat yourself on the back, but, you know, there's obviously we have other things we're trying to achieve as we go through this season. So forget about that body of work. Let everyone else talk about it. We have things to do right now, and that's get better. And that was my whole emphasis yesterday. I'm sure, you know, Coach Meyer has probably alluded to that already too with the staff. And I know that, you know, I'm sure every position coach covered it that way yesterday too.
Second row middle, Dave.
Tim, Coach Meyer said that Jeff Hyman's playing at an extremely high level, but he said we've got to get more receptions for him. What's that like? Do you have to keep Jeff's head up, or does he not even care?
You know, it's an interesting thing. I met Jeff in the hallway today when he's coming in to get a little treatment, and normally these guys will stop in and watch some film, and, you know, it's Monday's their day off. But it was interesting in that conversation. Jeff looked at me and he goes, "Coach, we just have a lot of good dudes on this team." That was his quote, you know. And he's looking around and said, "We got a lot of guys that can go." And so, you know, absolutely. You know, the week before we had 5 catches or something like that, and, you know, not a lot of yardage, but really I thought was very effective within the offense. This week, you know, there's a couple of plays that we called that I thought going into the game the tight end would get the ball. We all thought the tight end would get the ball. You know, Penn State didn't cooperate, but, you know, like on the one of them, they took 2 defenders and guarded the tight end on it. Well, Carlos Hyde caught a swing pass, went down the sideline. Good, you know, that's okay. really. And the bottom line is that we all get what we want if we win. So who cares who gets the credit, how that game plan worked? If we are executing at 63, 64 points, whatever it was on Saturday night, we're good. Trust me, we're good. Let's keep executing at that level. And whether, who's getting the catches, who's not, obviously our tight ends are very integral in all phases of it because they got to run good routes to create other things for other guys, or they got to block very well at the point of attack attached or on the perimeter. And all that's just part of winning. And whatever if we're called upon, we're going to do our job. And do it well, we hope, and whatever that may be within the surface. So I don't spend a lot of time on it, but if I had a guy that ever complained about it, he might not go on the field for a while,
Just a quick follow-up. How much better is Hireman than last year, and why is he better? I know he had Stoneburner in front of him. Why is he better?
Yeah, the thing is, early in the year we started with Zach Bourne too, if you remember right. And so Zach was there, and then we kind of made a little bit of position change with Jake kind of sliding out and playing more receiver-ish type tight end. And, of course, we were trying to find Zach because he was such a bonus guy, and we're trying to find ways to get him into the offense. So Jeff was kind of put on the shelf a little bit early in the season, really emerged really well late in the year. And, the beauty of it is when you look at what he does, one, everybody walks up and down these hallways. When you look at his physical stature, he's a big, strong guy. And literally, he's got the highest vertical jump, and he's got also the highest bench press out there, which is really, really positive.
Front row right, Tim.
Yeah.
Following up again, Tim, on Hireman, he seems to have a knack for the block on the edge. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Do you agree with that?
No, I think it's all great coaching, to be real honest with you. No, he does. Oh, my God. I know, I saw everyone looking at it. By the way, don't ever coach a guy like that. I just want you to know. Ever, ever. Listen, here's the deal. He's really, really, really good. Really good at what he does. And he does have a knack of it. He understands leverage. And, like every great football player you're ever around, they're very football intelligent. And he's a very football intelligent guy. Like he'll sit there, and when he's wrong in a play, there's a play early in the game, we're on like the 4-yard line, and we're running the inside zone to Carlos, and he kind of cuts back and only gets down to the 2. Well, Jeff's at fault on that play. Well, because he saw a linebacker walk out of the box, and he thought for sure that linebacker was blitzing. He didn't blitz. He lined up differently than we had taught him, and so he actually made a mistake because he overthought the play. Well, listen, Jeff, don't do it again, but boy, you love that awareness. You know what I mean? Because a guy who isn't aware of those sort of things and doesn't get it, well, that's bad. And so one of the things that makes him really, really good is his understanding of awareness. And he's really strong physically. Really, literally a gifted kid. And he works so hard at it. And he's got great toughness. And like every competitor, and there's a lot of, we talk about being 1-0 on every snap. It's a big Coach Herman saying, be 1-0. He doesn't like to lose any snaps. So he's going to battle you, and we're going to strain to win that block, and that's what he does really, really well.
Tim, was that your question? I got flustered there.
Yeah, I want to follow up
Yeah.
one other quickie.
Sorry.
You said a while ago that Michigan State is not like you guys offensively. Do you mean schematically?
Schematically. No, absolutely. I don't mean nothing negative to the guys up there. It's schematically, obviously, they're a lot more eye-pro and a lot more, different schematically that way than we are in our spread set. So, structurally, when you watch video, you want to watch like opponents. Everybody in America does it. Who's the most like us? That's the team you'll spend the most film time on. And that's something when you change defenses in the middle of the year, and at least we think we did, makes it a little bit harder.
And last question, Pat.
Yeah, Coach, a couple questions for you here. Coach Meyer said that both Jeff Hireman and Nick Vannett were graded out as champions.
They did.
How satisfying is that for you?
Well, it's always very gratifying because we coach for the players, and funny, I made that comment today too. As we're talking to somebody, I said, we players complain about, or we coaches complain about these players and that players, and I always think we wouldn't have a job without players, right? So don't complain about them. Let's try to make them better. And Nick early in the year had an injury and missed some real crucial time. in the beginning of the season as far as practice time. I mean, some real crucial time. And it's taken him a while to get back to where he was, but he's practicing really well. And to watch those guys go out and perform at the level you expect from them and you want for them as people. You know, when Coach Meyer reads off champion now, this room is full of his peers, and they get a chance to stand up and run down and shake Coach Meyer's hand, and there's a smile on their face now. They're pretty proud of what they just accomplished because it ain't easy. You know, they got to grade out, for me, they got to grade out 80% in that game. Well, you know, that means your opponent's not grading out very well. They're on scholarship too and practicing really hard. And so I'm really pleased with how how both of them are playing. And again, you know, like everything else, there's a good momentum right now in our room. There's good momentum on this football team, and it's our job to continue to enhance it and take it into this week.
There are times when catches are obviously slow to come to Jeff just because of what the opponent's doing. So the trickle-down effect probably multiplies that, you know, however many times for Vanette. So for Nick to still get that kind of compliment from the team and from coach to grade out a champion, how satisfying is that for you, for the player?
Very much so, because, you know, I mean, really, Nick is a tremendous pass receiving tight end. And I mean, he really has great hands and good ball skills and has the ability to run very, very well. And his day's coming at Ohio State where he's going to have some great days ahead of him. And the thing is, you can't be selfish in this game. This is the ultimate team game, and you have to be very, very proud. And you know, it's like that parent that watches their kid do something they're really happy with. The parent's more proud than the kid. Well, we got to be that way because without each other really being happy for Braxton Miller being successful, or Chris Fields being successful, because he doesn't play a lot either. Unless we're really complimenting each other and making happy for each other, you really have those dissensions with a team that doesn't have a positive attitude and doesn't allow you to be as consistent as Ohio State's been. And because all those little things eventually in the locker room will wear you down. And right now, there's none of that with this football team. You know, no one cares who gets the credit. Let's get the final result the Ohio State way. And that's why there's been such consistency, and at least in my opinion, one of the reasons there's been such consistency in our program and why we're winning at a very consistent level is that no one cares. I mean, they really don't. It's, hey, what do we got this week? When it wasn't Carlos Hyde, did anybody care? You know what I mean? And now that Carlos Hyde's getting a lot of reps, no one cares. Good for Carlos, but whatever it takes, let's find a way to win the next game.
Coach, thank you very much.
Hey, thanks. Thank you.